Let's finish up our chat app by implementing the ability to update and delete our Firebase chat messages. First, let's focus on deleting as it's really simple. So in our template, we need to add a click event bound to a method that we'll define in our component class in a little bit. So to do this, we take our delete button right here, and we're going to add in a click event. And it's going to be bound to a method called delete. And we're going to pass in item dot. And for accessing the unique key associated for each message, which will help us identify which message to delete, we type the cache symbol key. All right. Now next, in our component class file, we create a very simple method called delete. And we're going to pass in the key as a string. And we type in this dot items, and we use the remove method. And we pass in the key. So let's hit save. We'll go to our app component and save as well. We'll go to our browser. And we'll go ahead and test this out. So let's go ahead and delete this last one. And there we go. We see that it works. We'll delete the first one. All right, great. So far, we have the ability to create, read, and delete. So the only thing left now is to update. So first, we're going to define two new properties in our component class. So just underneath our message property, we're going to define edit message, and it's going to be of type Boolean. And we're going to set it to false by default. And this will help us to determine if we're currently editing. And then also in edit ID, this will be a number. And the edit ID will be based on the current index. And this will help us to determine the appropriate message to edit. All right. So let's also create an edit or update method. So underneath delete, we'll go ahead and put in edit for the name. And in here, we'll pass in a key of a string and a message, which will be the new message that's intending to be updated as a string. Inside of here, reference this.items. This time we use the update method. We pass in the key in the first argument, and then we change the message to our new message. And then after this, we're going to set this.edit message property back to false, because in our template, we're going to change it to true. All right, save this. We'll now go back to our app component HTML file. And we're going to make a div with an if, else, and then statement, which was only made possible in Angular 4 and later versions. So just underneath our div medium 9 columns class, we're going to go ahead and add a new div. And we're going to add ng if. And in parentheses, we will say if the edit ID equals the current index. And we're also going to put double ampersands for and edit message is true. Then we're going to show the edit template, which we'll define momentarily, else show message. And this will be a template as well. So to do this, all I have to do is change our ng template, show message, and this is defining this particular ng template as a local template variable show message, and then we'll close it out. So if we're not in edit mode, then it's simply going to show this message. Let's go ahead and take this and we'll copy it, and we'll paste this. This will be show edit. And in here is where we show the input field from which they can change the message. So we'll go ahead and remove this. Input, type is text. The value will be through interpolation, item.message. And then on key up, enter event. So when a person clicks enter, We're going to call the edit method that we already defined. We're going to pass in the item key, and then also the event target value. All right, and then finally, we'll add a click event to set our edit message property to true and the edit ID property to the current index. So in our button down here on click, we're going to say in parentheses, edit message equals true, double ampersands, edit ID equals I. All right, let's go ahead and save. And let's give it a shot in the browser to see if everything works. So let's click edit on our current message here. We can see now that it shows up with a text message. We'll go ahead and hit enter. And there we go. It works. So now if we refresh, all our values are persisted in Firebase. Hopefully you learned a lot throughout this project and have learned how to perform CRUD operations using Google's Firebase. Now in the next project, we're going to create a mean app, which is an acronym for MongoDB, Express.js, Angular, and Node.js, from which we will create a simple blog-style app for performing CRUD operations.